Welcome back, you guys. It's your boy The Don here with another episode of The Don's Favorite here on Forever I Love Atlanta Sports Podcast. All right, I'm joined here today, the newest member of Georgia Sports Hospitality Media. He will be covering Atlanta United for the website. Tommy, how you doing, man?
It's been a crazy weekend with Atlanta United. It's been fun and frustrating.
Yeah, man. Look, it's bittersweet, man. It's bittersweet, and we're gonna talk about this here in a minute. But before we do, y'all already know if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this content out with Atlanta Sports Fanatics, and hit us up in the comment section. As always, come holler at your hometown sports podcast. All right, so we got news this afternoon that Gabriel Heinze is out as the manager for Atlanta United. Share your thoughts with me on that move that the organization did.
It's been a pretty crazy few weeks. So Joseph goes over for international duty, gets COVID. You expect him to be out for, maybe a couple games because he hadn't had any practice. He was stuck in his hotel room. Comes back, doesn't play the first game. Okay, expected. Doesn't play in Nashville last week. A little questionable that he's not even on the bench. Then we're looking into this week and what's going to happen. And Friday, Heinze says it's not a conditioning issue. It's between me and Joseph knows what he did. And that's when the world blew up. And there was nothing better than this game on Saturday being on ESPN, where you had the national media, you had ESPN talking about it. I'd say out of 90 minutes, they were talking about it for at least 50. When you have a league MVP, and a team that hasn't won in almost 2 months,
That's alarming.
yeah, you got a big problem there. And Joseph is the franchise. There's no one else that's even close to Joseph Martinez. Murals are everywhere.
He is. Let me be real. Let's be real. Let's call a spade a spade. All right, and we're not even gonna sugarcoat it. And I'm the type of person. I don't try to be nice about anything. I say things how it is. If people like it or not. Joseph Martinez is the face of Atlanta sports. We're not talking about just Atlanta United. We're talking about Atlanta sports, period. All right? This man brought a championship here in Atlanta to Atlanta that no team could do since the Braves, 22 years before we won, or 23 years before that. All right? He done that. All right? And when you have a guy like him on your roster, you need to try to do everything you can to keep this man happy. Yeah, I got some people that sit up and say, "Well, Don, you will never keep that same energy. You ain't had that same energy with Julio Jones." That's different.
Yeah.
All right? It's totally different. Julio was in business for himself, okay? Joseph wants to be here in Atlanta. He wants to play. He wants to contend for another championship. Totally different players, all right? And do you agree or disagree?
Oh, no, I agree. He's got that swag to him, and he's always been very verbal that he loves this city, and he loves it. And, when the report came out on Friday that he told the franchise that this was going to be his last year, I was freaking out. Heinze hasn't done much here. He hasn't won. And today's report coming out was very interesting because there were a lot of things. They want to say that it doesn't have to do with Joseph, but that his practices are too rough. And you look at this team and how they play; they have been very exhausted. There's been games where you go into it thinking that someone's going to play, and they say that there's an injury at practice. We had Emerson Hyman get hurt; he tore his ACL in practice. Big midfielder for us. He gets out. We've had a few other guys. I think Franco Ibarra and Franco. The other Franco got hurt. And so we had two more guys that got hurt because of practice. So there's been a lot going on. And now it's all coming together. And apparently some player went out there and reported to the Players League, the Players Association, and reported Heinze about this. All these practices going on, extra practice time, and someone ratted him out. So, this has been a tough couple days for Atlanta United because this is their second coach that they've got wrong.
Yeah,
Frank de Boer was not what they wanted.
and that's man. Uh, it's it's weird, man. And like we going back on Friday, Yosef said he wanted to be out of Atlanta, and like I'm like, man, this has not been a good year for Atlanta sports. Um, Braves losing 3-1 in the NLCS. Um, the Falcons, losing Julio Jones.
Cleaning
The
house.
Braves losing Ronald Acuna, like, and now this, like, I'm like, yeah, something got to give, and you got to think about not only just Yosa means a lot to this club and winning games, but he leave Atlanta. I'm gonna be real. We got some great fans who show up to matches, but if that man gone, you really think they're gonna fill out that Mercedes-Benz Stadium 70,000?
They didn't yesterday.
Exactly.
From what I read, it was one of the lowest attendances that they've had ever.
And
That's crazy.
that I'm telling you, that right there is a problem. We never had that issue with filling out the bins when it comes to soccer matches. Now, five Falcons games, yeah, we know how that goes. But soccer, man, that place stay packed every time they have a match. It doesn't matter who we play. And yesterday, I saw the match. Like when we lost that match yesterday, I'm like, yeah, they got to do something because we never lost to New England. We never lost to New England ever since we've been in inception since 2017. We never lost to New England Revolution. But
yeah, we've never lost at home to them ever. We've pretty much dominated them at home. But we have a lot of players that are out right now to international. Barco, who's another big player that really hasn't produced. You got Guzan that was out, Bello, Robinson. Robinson had a really good game today for the U.S., which is nice to see. But, there's something that has to change here because we've been constantly moving players in and out. And we moved all the players out from the championship team, right? I mean, pretty much it's Joseph and it's Guzan. Barco was there, but he really wasn't a contributor. And we keep moving all these guys out that are fan favorites that produced, and we're filling them with guys that just aren't producing well. And we still have a good roster, but they got to make some changes here. And they want to get a new coach in by the end of the year. There's not a lot of coaches that are available.
You know what? We had choices before we had hired Heinze. One guy was Patrick Vieira. He used to coach New York City FC. I think bringing him here to Atlanta would be good. That's one guy I like, but we thought we had this hire right. We thought, okay, go back to the roots of bringing in a disciple of Tata Martino and a guy like Gabriel, and we think that, okay, well, we're gonna end up going to the MLS Cup again this year, and that did not work out. So it's back to the drawing board and getting another coach, and I see this is parallel to what we just saw with the Hawks and Lloyd Pierce, him having issues with Trae Young. All right, Heinz having issues with Josef Martinez. Kind of parallel. And we know coaches supposed to elevate players. Coaches supposed to put the players in the best position to succeed. And coaches, they also instill their philosophy. I think what Heinz tried to do, he was doing what he's supposed to do as a coach, but he was going by it the wrong way. All right. Yes, you instill your philosophy. And soccer is different from any other sport. You have to give it time. These guys that we have on this team, they went from Tata, they went from Frank de Boer for a year and a half, and then they're going to Gabriel Heinze. Like, you gotta slow it down a little bit for these guys. The practices, I've heard about the practices being harsh. Like, yeah, it's rough, and that's why I said he was doing what he needed to do as a coach, but he was going about it the wrong way.
Yeah. When you lose the players, there was talks, in Felipe Cardenas' article in The Athletic that, he's lost some of the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
And when you push out your best player, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt the entire locker room. And on Wednesday they didn't have him, and they ended up coming back and tying the game late, which was great. Um, and but it's you don't have your best guy on the field, and we didn't have the best guy on the field the entire last season. Tore
Mm-hmm.
his ACL game one. So what are you going to do now? You had COVID to hide this last season, right? All the animosity that was going on about Atlanta United being terrible last year was hidden through COVID. COVID was a
The
godsend to
excuse.
Atlanta United
It was
because
an
they didn't
excuse. It
have
was
to.
an excuse that we can use. Okay, well the club wasn't good because of COVID and then poor coaching and Frank DeBoer.
Yeah,
Now
and
this
Joseph been
year,
hurt.
Joseph is healthy. Yeah, they had championship leagues and stuff they had to go to. We get that, but Hines is hired you know, reform this team to get it back to our winning ways like we were before DeBoer, and he didn't do a good job at it. You lose the locker room. Like, how are we gonna win if the players not listening to you? You
Right.
you you pissing the players off.
So we're at a point now where the team needs a coach and they need players. The transfer window's open. I don't remember the date that it ends, but I think it's open for like a month. Um, I mean, there was talks. Joseph's not going anywhere. I think with Heinze out, Joseph's going to stay, but
You
there's a
can't get rid of a
potential.
guy like Joseph, man. Martinez, you gotta keep him here in Atlanta. It ain't just about winning. It's about just he is the guy. He helped this city win a championship. That's like that's like equivalent to the Braves getting rid of back then. The Braves getting rid of Greg Maddux, Greg Maddux, John Smoltz, or Chipper Jones. Those guys who helped bring a championship to Atlanta in '95. And a few years later, let's just trade Chipper Jones. Let's just trade Greg Maddux and Tom Glavine. Like, you don't do stuff like that, man. Like, I know teams do it sometimes, but you hold on. If the player is still playing at a high level, you keep him here.
And we don't know if he's there. He's still coming back. He hasn't had a ton of time. He's been getting some playing time prior to COVID. He hasn't played for a month. We got to see what happens here.
Mm-hmm.
But the team isn't getting in scoring chances right now. Even when Barco was here, they weren't setting up dangerous passes. The offense has become predictable. Brooks Lennon is our MVP right now because he's second in the league in getting in, setting up scoring chances, but there's no one to finish it. And the way that they're setting it up, it's predictable. Old Atlanta United, they could do a little bit of everything. Crosses, set Joseph up on a breakaway. They could score in every way. This team is easy to defend. And until, we have a temporary coach in with Valentino, but they're going to need a coach. And, with the transfer window open, and this is scary, there's 3 designated players you can get, and we could possibly have 2 spots open here, which means a lot of spending money, which means there's not a coach here to sign off on these. So these guys could just be signing some people, and the new coach might come in and not want any of these guys. So we're in a very weird time right now. We're only a third way through the season, so I mean, we're only 4 points out of a playoff spot, I think. So that's not terrible, but they got to get it together real quick.
Yeah. So the who did we promote again to be the interim manager for the club?
Valentino, and from my understanding, he was a part of Frank DeBoer's group, and then after Frank was sacked, they kept him around and kind of created a position for him. So, there's been some players on Twitter today. Gallagher, who was our striker last year that we ended up selling to Austin, gave his approval of him. So there's a lot of players that have really gone to bat for this guy. So I don't know much about him. I don't think many people do. But we'll see. I guess he's very respected, so we'll see where this goes here for a couple games. I know I'm heading to Cincinnati on Wednesday to check this game out, so it should be interesting to see where we are. But Saturday they're playing the defending MLS champion Columbus Crew. It's at the Benz, 100% capacity, right? So how bad is it going to look when you're on national TV again and that
and not filling
stadium's
out the
empty?
stadium. Yeah, that yeah. Ugh.
It's going to be interesting to see if fans show up because, I saw at least on Facebook, people were giving away tickets.
Yeah, I've been
Um,
seeing even on Twitter. Like I've been seeing it on Twitter that people I follow that's saying $30 for tickets. And I'm I haven't been to a United match since before COVID happened. And me and my fiance, she's a huge soccer fan, so we've been trying to go to some matches or whatever. And I'm we gonna end up going, but you know, I need Joseph to play. We need him to play. So we're gonna end up going to a match probably sometime next month or sometime in September. Eventually, just this summer just been crazy for us. So
yeah, it should be interesting to see where we are in a month. There's a lot that can happen. And I still believe that this team could be one or two players away from being able to get some goals. Our midfield's good, our defense is really good. Guzan's above average. So we got a good team, but the offense we can't score. And I've never liked soccer until I got into Atlanta United. I turn this game on and they're putting up 4 or 5 goals a game, and you just hear the crowd there. That crowd was booing, and that crowd was chanting for Joseph Martinez, and it was very loud. And every time the Joseph chant started, ESPN made sure to bring it up.
yeah, I don't have cable, so I had to look at the highlights on my Twitter feed, and yeah, I saw it. It did not look good at all. So
Yeah, and this new coach, whoever comes in, it'll be interesting to see where he comes from because other leagues, their coaches are set.
let's be
They're
real. Let's be real. And I shout out to Ariel Research and Spike, newest member of FILA crew, hometown crew. He mentioned that we need to hire a coach that has MLS coaching experience. And I feel like what that sounds so right because MLS now we know probably like 5-10 years ago you had teams that hire coaches outside of the league and they come in, they dominate, they do well. Now it evolved now. Like MLS has its own style now. It's not seen as the minor league league anymore for the world. We can not gonna say we can compete in revenue with the European League or any of the Latin American teams because we're not there yet. But MLS has its own style now.
physical.
You have to hire someone who has that coaching experience. This is why I said that the guy that used to coach in New York City, his name is let me pull up his name, Patrick Vieira. I feel like he'd be a good candidate for this team. He's the type of coach that he wants his players to score at will. Um, he allowed the players not to just do what they do, but he put them in the best position to either score or to defend the goal. So
Yeah.
This is a person that we need here in Atlanta.
Well, Atlanta goes on, and they've done it now with Tata, Frank,
Mm-hmm.
and then the plan was with Heinze was to have him here for 2 years. And I've heard a lot of people say, well, we got the 2-year plan. The first year is to, get everything set up. If we do it, great. Second year is when we go for the championship. And that's a tricky thing to do because you mess up year one or you got a bad injury in year two, you just wasted 2 years.
You just wasted 2 years. Yeah.
You need a long-term plan, and this team always seems like it's very short-sighted. They want to sell players, and I don't disagree with that. We sold Almiron. Somehow we made a profit on Pity Martinez, but we sold
MLS
guys.
is a selling league. We're a selling league. You're going to sell players. That's been MLS since the inception, since 94, 96, wherever we started. But that's always been our bread and butter. You're going to sell players off to other leagues.
And that's fine. But you look at a team at Seattle who's had crazy success over the years, right?
Mm-hmm.
They do sell and they do bring people on, but they don't sell the core. And we've moved on from some quite a few. I mean, the entire MLS champion roster is pretty much gone. When you look at that picture, I mean, there's not many people left there right now. So it's they're going to have to figure something out here, but they need to get some unity on this lineup. And we could possibly see Miles be sold here in the next year. Bello, there's already some interest in Bello. We've got some young kids that have been really stepping up. I like Joseph Conway. Campbell made his first start. So we got some guys that are coming up that are going to be able to take some of these spots, but we got to make another run at it. And this team, Carlos and Darren Eales, they're going to need to do something quick here because if those crowds get empty, is Arthur going to keep those pockets open?
Mm-hmm. That's the thing. He will, and that's the thing, man. Like Arthur, he brought the championship here to you, but you got to build upon that. You got to keep these fans happy because we seen it with all these other teams around the city, especially he owned the Falcons, and just trying to chase, we wasted so many years with just keeping Dan Quinn on staff. I said this so many times. I'm not even trying to get into Falcons football right now, but keeping him longer after that Super Bowl debacle, man, it hurt his franchise. We wasted a lot of good years in Matt Ryan. We wasted a lot of good years when Julio was here, just trying to replicate a 2016, which I never understood. Why would you replicate something that we fell short of?
Right.
And mainly the reason why we lost that game was because of coaching. We were playing well. We lost because of coaching.
Yeah.
And never got rid of these guys up until what a year ago. Well, almost a year ago. So you gotta make the right hire to whoever comes in here. Next they got big shoes to fill. Like we got to keep this crowd coming to the Benz.
Yeah. Good news is we got a good fan base. We got money. We got a great stadium. So, I mean, it should be, desirable. But if I'm a coach, I'm looking at this saying, what the hell's happening here? And it's been 3 years. And, this team was, almost made MLS Cup for a second year if Joseph didn't get hurt in practice. He was hurting. He missed the penalty kick and we didn't make it to the finals. And then since then, it's literally been all downhill.
Yeah, it's been, oof. So, yeah. But, hey, I appreciate you coming on, man, talking about this. Once again, let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, Matt, let's go Ducks96 on Twitter.
All right. Yeah. Stay on after we go live, man, so we can talk a little bit. But, hey, everybody, man, appreciate y'all joining us live tonight. Thank y'all for staying with me for over an hour and a half of FILA content. I don't know when we'll be back to do more shows, but stay tuned. We got a whole new crew of guys covering almost every team in the city. Georgia Sports Hospitality Media, we got new faces on with us as well. If you're new to the channel, you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this content out with Atlanta Sports Fanatics, and hit us up in the comment section. As always, come holler at your hometown sports podcast. This is your boy, The Don, with another episode of The Don's Favorite here on Forever I Love Atlanta Sports Podcast. Y'all have a great evening. I'll see y'all next time.
We're going to win Wednesday.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We're going to win Wednesday. Let's just call it. I'm calling it right now. I'll be back next week to tell you we won.
Man, I hope so, man. We need to win. We really do need to win. And I'm tired of losing. The Braves just lost today. I'm sick of this. So somebody need to give us some wins. So, hey, see y'all later. We'll be back another time.